They think they can get away with murder.
This is gasoline.
But they didn't count on one thing.
Does he have any other relatives? Anyone else that could possibly help?
You sure you want to mess up that face, handsome?
Now what's it gonna be? You lose. You die.
It's going to be simple.
Van Damme is Lionheart.
Opens Friday, January 11th, Paramount Pershing in the Pantages Theaters.
Rock your holidays with new music, like Fire Tiger's latest, Suddenly Heavenly.
There ain't no doubt about it. You've always been the one. Heavenly, suddenly, oh, suddenly, oh.
Happy Monday's latest, Pills and Thrills and Bellyaches. Available Licorice Pizza, Sam Goody, Musicland, Tower Records, Sound Warehouse, fine platforms everywhere.
The performance edge, the edge that makes you win again and again and again, my friend. You see, once you start smoking, you start choking. Smoking ain't cool and I'm not joking. For your players drinking alcohol, you be playing to lose and losing the ball. Wiped out, burnt out, dehydrated, playing so bad cause you were intoxicated. So if you dream of being great, keep the performance edge, keep your act straight.
The following program may contain some content that is not appropriate for younger viewers. Parental guidance is suggested. May induce seizures, nausea, self-righteous apoplexy, convenient amnesia, and or diarrhea cha-cha-cha. TV 69 will only show this programming after 10 p.m. Pacific Time.
Red Eye Express. The Red Eye Express, your nighttime sortie into cool, featuring the best in roots, rock, rap, reggae, rare, retro, and weird.
Long-form public affairs programming from the nation's capital and are a public service of your television provider. C-SPAN, created by cable.
Service of your television provider. Service of your television provider.
Created by cable. Created by cable. Created by cable. Created by cable.
Good evening and welcome aboard the Red Eye Express on TV 69. Strap in tight tonight as we light upon our first subject, politics. A touchy area these days for sure. Just remember, when you're on the Red Eye Express, it's all flyover country.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. We love you. Thank you very much. We're going to win. We're going to win so big. Thank you very much, everybody.
The human mind is like a computer. No matter how efficient it may be, Its reliability is only as great as the information fed into it. If it is possible to control the input of the human mind, then no matter how intelligent a person may be, it's entirely possible to program what he will think. And yes, it's even possible to program people to laugh at the mere mention of the word conspiracy.
This house is on fire. For a long time it's been burning hot. You trade your place at this table. Or for the cheap buzz you got from taking your counsel. Oh, for that low-life bitter stakes, you better pull your head out. Honey, on it's always money. You're headed for a big mistake. Another big mistake. You ain't paid for your last one. And here you are again.
The sheriff wouldn't stop Trump. Hobie had to find somebody who would. Sheriff Chet Farrow was the gun law in Talpa, and Judge Clement was the book law.
You hear about Trump?
Yes, sir. What are you going to do about him?
What do you want me to do?
Stop him.
From what?
From taking a town.
Can you prove that that's what he has in mind?
Well, it's obvious.
But can you prove it? In order to arrest him, the sheriff has to have a charge. And Trump hasn't given him a thing to go on.
Well, there's got to be some way to stop him.
Well, if there is, I don't know it. It's a funny thing.
Sir?
When we were kids, we were all afraid of the dark. And we grew up, and we weren't afraid anymore, but it's funny how a big lie can make us all kids again.
Hobie had checked the town. The people were ready to believe. Like sheep, they ran toward the slaughterhouse. And waiting for them was the high priest of fraud.
I am the only one. Just me. I can build a wall around your homes that nothing will penetrate.
What do we do? How do we save ourselves?
You ask, how do you build that wall? You ask, and I'm here to tell you.
You're a liar, Trump.
Such programming, of course, can work in both directions. While one group has been conditioned not to see any conspiracy at work, another group has been led to believe that communists have been behind practically everything.
Oh, sanity, can't you see? Wait, back to sanity, cause all the lights are dimming and all the points are tipping and all the houses are flipping and Kanye's tripping. You're looking back 20 years on bitterly. You used to be a light in the light so bright. Now when I worry in the night, it's 'tis of thee.
People from different countries with different religions, different colored skins. Free people. They can live together and work together and build America together because they're free. Free to vote, to say what they please, go to their own churches, to pick their own jobs. Yeah? Mike's got something, all right. He's got America. But there are guys who stay up nights figuring out how to take that away from him.
I happen to know the facts. Now, friends, I'm just an average American. But I'm an American. And some of the things I see in this country of ours make my blood boil. I see people with foreign money. I see Negroes holding jobs that belong to me and you. Now I ask you, if we allow this thing to go on, what's going to become of us real Americans? Now I
I've heard this kind of talk before, but I never expected to hear it in America.
This fellow seems to know what he's talking about.
What are we real Americans going to do about it? You'll find it right here in this little pamphlet. The truth about Negroes and foreigners. The truth about the Catholic Church.
But do you believe in that kind of talk?
I don't know. Makes pretty good sense to me.
And I tell you, friends, we'll never be able to call this country our own until it's a country without. Without what? Yeah, without what? Without Negroes. Without alien foreigners. Without Catholics. Without Freemasons. You know these people.
What's wrong with the Masons? I'm a
The
Mason.
symbol of the all-seeing eye is closely associated with the Illuminati. Like many other features of this conspiracy, apparently it was taken by Adam Weishaupt from the occult symbolism of ancient history. It appears today among the symbols of the Rosicrucians, the Freemasons, and many others around
Hey,
the
that
world.
fellow's talking about me.
And that makes a difference, doesn't it?
These are your enemies. These are the people who are trying to take over our country. Now you know them. You know what they stand for. And it's up to you and me to fight them. Fight them and destroy them before they destroy us. Thank you.
Before he said Masons, you were ready to agree with him.
Well, yes, but he was talking about... What about those other people?
But in this country, we have no other people. We are American people.
What about you? You aren't American, are you?
I was born in Hungary, but now I am an American citizen. And I have seen what this kind of talk can do. I saw it in Berlin.
What were you doing there?
I was a professor at the university. I heard the same words we have heard today. But I was a fool then. I thought Nazis were crazy people, stupid fanatics. But unfortunately, it was not so. You see, they knew that they were not strong enough to conquer a unified country. So they split Germany into small groups. They used prejudice as a practical weapon to cripple the nation. Of course, that was not easy to do. They had to work hard to do it. You see, we human beings are not born with prejudices. Always they are made for us. Made by someone who wants something. Remember that when you hear this kind of talk. Somebody is going to get something out of it. And it isn't going to be you. This is not classroom theory. I saw it happen. I saw it first in Berlin in 1932. 5 young men that I knew were standing in the crowd listening to the Nazi speaker. Eric was a Catholic. Anton, a student of mine, was a Jew. Heinrich owned a small hardware store. Karl was a farmer. And Hans was an unemployed metal worker.
To all Bavarian Germans, I say it is time you inherited the nation which rightfully belongs to you. To you alone belongs the glorious destiny of the greater Germany. The Nazi Party will provide land for the farmer, work for the worker, and profits for the small businessman. Who is getting these things now? The Jew. The Jew who has stolen our nation and our birthright. Who makes all the money and takes all our jobs? The Jew! He must be shunned. He must be ostracized. He must be eliminated. And the Catholics. We don't want our great nation run by a foreign church. We Germans will know what to do with these people when the time comes. They and their faith must be destroyed. Then there are the Freemasons. In Germany, we have no place for secret societies. There will be only one society, and that is the Nazi Party. There will be no secrecy about that in the new Greater Germany.
One by one, he attacked each minority and he split them off one from the other. These men were all fellow Germans when they came here today. Now they were split into rival groups, suspicious of each other, hating each other. They were being swindled, all of them. But the man who was really being fooled was Hans. He was pure German, according to Nazi standards. To him they promised everything, and he fell for it. That's how Hans became a Superman. They gave him a uniform and they pumped up his ego. He wasn't just a little fellow out of work anymore. He was a member of the master race. And so for all practical purposes, truth had been abolished in Germany. A lot of my German friends wondered what had hid them. How did it happen? Where did it start? It started right here. And this was where it could have been stopped. If those people had stood together, if they had protected each other, they could have resisted the Nazi threat. Together they would have been strong. But once they allowed themselves to be split apart, they were helpless. When that first minority lost out, everybody lost out. They made the mistake of gambling with other people's freedom. We must never let that happen to us or to our country. We must never let ourselves be divided by race or color or religion, because in this country we all belong to minority groups. I was born in Hungary. You are a Mason. These are minorities. And then you belong to other minority groups too. You are a farmer. You have blue eyes. You go to the Methodist Church. Your right to belong to these minorities is a precious thing. You have a right to be what you are and say what you think, because here we have personal freedom. We have liberty. And these are not just fancy words. This is a practical and priceless way of living. But we must work at it. We must guard everyone's liberty, or we can lose our own. So let's not be suckers. We must not allow the freedom or dignity of any man to be threatened by any act or word. Let's be selfish about it. Let's forget about we and they. Let's think about us.
If you need a new tea and you'll be online,
change your flannel, change to channel 69. For handcrafting you can see and long-lasting quality, change to TV 69.
Friends, TV 69, Austin, El Paso, Long Beach, TV69.com, all around the world, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, friends, we know that you have many places to spend your hard-earned t-shirt dollar. That's why we always try to bring you top value. Now, what do I mean by top value? Well, it's a simple equation. It's fun, elegant designs times high-quality garments plus top-of-the-line inks equals years and years of enjoyment for you and yours. Now, friends, take a look at these great values. And yes, we've got the brand new Cowpunk Cuernavaca Special Editions, all 3 packages. Here's the paddleboard package, $15.99. Here's the blue ribbon package, $15.99. And finally, the Cowpunk Cuernavaca Special Edition skateboard package, $15.99. And we've got a Cowpunk brand new franchise logo, $17.99. And a brand new Cowpunk sporty little model here, $15.99.
That's right, friends. Hear what we say in town, see what we're laying down. Give us a look-see, give us a holler, give us a chance to save you that dollar. TV69.com, Se Habla Español, open till midnight. Come on down, we'll see you then.
There's an old Jack Benny joke that goes, I don't really need glasses. I just use them for seeing. Well, normally I don't wear glasses, but for reading and working my computer, I use Magnavision. So if you're like me, you might like to know that Magnavision reading glasses are on sale, 25% off at Thrifty. So what do you think, Jack Benny or Kenny Grant? Low prices, highest quality, trust Thrifty.
So tell me, how do you recognize a real California cheese? Is it waiting to be discovered? Is it hot? Cool, hip? Is it laid back, hang loose, stuck in traffic? Oh, waiting to be discovered. Is it from Pasadena? No, Berkeley. Oh, Hollywood. Oh, for sure. It's status conscious, health conscious, globally conscious, and like really conscious. I bet a real California cheese is into doing deals, doing lunch, and still waiting to be discovered.
You get real California. Real California cheese.
Randy Travis on strings. Branford Marsalis on the horn. Paul Schaefer on keys. Carly Simon on lead. There are a lot of different parts to play in the American Red Cross. Play your part.
On sale now at RB, Sealy Posturepedic and Simmons Beauty Rest. Buy it today, sleep on it tomorrow. We'll deliver it free. We'll even pick up your old bedding free. That's Mattress Plus at RB.
You've conquered Super Mario Bros. 3, beaten Ninja Gaiden 2, trounced Tetris. Now you must face the greatest challenge, Solstice. Solstice, the final test of the Game Master. Solstice by ImageSoft at all KB Toys.
Welcome back to the Red Eye Express on TV 69. As we resume our look at politics in the USA and the way artists are addressing the issues, especially given that, in our post-journalism, post-truth world, they're often the truest voices to be found. Here's Punkers Shattered Matters with their angry polemic, Hate Not Hope.
They're giving out hate, not hope. The beaten generation, we're gonna give them just enough hope and just enough of misinformation. The battle lines are being drawn. Here comes a right-wing sass, you're gonna kick your ass. Gonna know that you're voting wrong. Cause your voice and your music from Fox News and all the things that you say and all the things that you do, well, they just want it away. So say the bootlickers in the butt kick us anyway. So say the bootlickers in the butt kick us anyway. So I say, hey, the bootlickers in the butt kick us without the secular, progressive, humanist, civil and labor rights movements. This country wouldn't be shit.
Is it possible that both the communist and capitalist conspiracies have yet one more inner circle within the circle, regardless of whether there is one controlling group or two cooperating,
or 3 competing, or 4, or 10?
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like in
Smacking his fangs while he reports on a poll. He says, oh yeah, trust in media real low, motherfucker, you don't say. Yes, you've had great success and we can see how things are today. As you poisoned the well, beyond all treatment. My hunch, you've pissed in the punch a bunch. And Pilgrim, I hear tell, it'll be a spell, like a cold day in hell before you tell all your secrets. This is not a test, it's a state of affairs. If anybody cares, it's a state of unrest. And Lady Liberty's getting kind of fidgety, considering the histories we need to address. You got power with deacons, power with dons, power in the upper echelons. You got power in Kafia, Armani suits, power ties and cowboy boots. You see the thing about power, it tends to pool, and it stagnates with corpulent magnates. I repeat, this is not a test, it's a state of affairs, and if anybody cares, it's a state of unrest.
For those with a ruling class mentality, the answer is power, raw power over other human beings. Money can buy such power only to a point. Beyond that, politics is the sport, and world politics is the ultimate game.
These are the people who are trying to take over our country. Now you know them. You know what they stand for. And it's up to you and me to fight them. Fight them and destroy them before they destroy us.
An amazing number of people have begun to scoff at the possibility of conspiracy at work today. They dismiss such an idea merely as a conspiratorial view of history. The purpose of this presentation is to show that the conspiratorial view of history, particularly of recent history, is the correct view. Expose the conspiracy. Reduce the size of government. Return our money to a standard that cannot be manipulated. This must be our response. For our response, we must begin to dismantle the conspiracy's machine of big government. We must restore American independence. We must return our schools to local control. We must protect our police forces from federal aid, which is the certain path to a national police force controlled from Washington. We must denounce revenue sharing as a transparent device leading to control over local government. We must raise up men for political office who not only talk about reducing government, but who will do it once they're elected. And that means men who are totally independent of establishment politics. 7. We must reduce the Federal Reserve System to a service function of clearing checks between banks only. Merely turning the system as it stands over to the federal government, as some have suggested, will not solve the problem. The same people would control it either way. The root of the evil is that money is created out of nothing, and the insiders could do that today just as easily directly through government as they do through the Federal Reserve System. The ultimate solution is to prevent anyone, in or out of government, from manipulating the money supply. And the only way to do that is to return our money to the gold and silver standards.
No matter what a society uses for money and who controls its amount, the principles behind money are the same. Let's review the 6 important principles that Chicken has helped to explain. Our market economy is based on exchange. When one good is exchanged directly for another, we have direct exchange, or barter. An exchange involving goods neither party may want for direct use is called indirect exchange. These goods serve as a medium of exchange and enable indirect exchange to occur. Goods which are valued primarily as a medium of exchange are called money. People may value a substance as money for a number of reasons, such as how practical it is, or how easy it is to identify, or for how scarce it is. When a money commodity becomes inconvenient, a money substitute is often used. Money substitutes are as good as money, since they correspond to money which is safely stored. People may value paper notes which are not money substitutes because they know others accept them in accordance with legal tender laws.
With divine guidance and with your help, it can be done.
It is our duty to help the needy.
Wages and prices often play leapfrog. One jumps up, then the other, which means a steady rise in our cost of living.
The right to vote and to worship God in your own way. It is these freedoms that have made America strong.
Okay, so we got our freedom. But management's lousing up everything.
Labor is at fault. It's ruining the country.
Raw materials in practically everything we buy are worth little until labor transforms them into finished products. For example, how much do you think the raw materials cost in that car?
Oh, about $300.
You've got a surprise coming. It takes 4.5 tons of coal, 2 3/4 tons of iron ore, 50 pounds of cotton, 14 pounds of cured and finished wool, aluminum, zinc, lead, copper, and countless other raw materials to make an automobile. Without the addition of labor costs, these things are worth about $22. The raw materials require the accumulated labor of thousands of people in countless crafts to transform them into a finished automobile. Miners dig the coal and iron ore. Railroad and maritime workers transport these materials to the steel mill, where workers convert the ore into finished steel. The wages of railroad workers add to the value of steel when it is transported to automobile factories. The cotton that goes into a car accumulates labor cost from the farmer who tills the soil, from workers who sow the seed, and help to raise the cotton. Wages paid to other workers add to the value of the cotton as it is moved from the field to the cotton gin where it is processed. Other workers transport the cotton to the automobile factory. The wool that is used to make a car is worth little while it is still on the sheep. When the labor cost of a sheep shearer is added, the value of the wool is increased by his wages. When all of the parts and materials finally reach the factory for assembly, the labor cost of automobile workers must be added to the price of the car. In the $1,500 automobile, direct and indirect labor costs add up to approximately $1,200, or over 80% of the selling price. That's before taxes. And what happens to the other 20%, or $300? Raw material cost, $22. Profit to producers of raw materials and allied industries, $89. Profit to part manufacturers, $47. Profit to local dealer, $77. Profit to car manufacturer, $65. Now, when you add $400 for taxes, the cost is $1,900 to the buyer. Like the dolls you make, an automobile has a low raw material cost and a high labor cost, and that goes for practically everything we buy.
Oh, yeah? Well, what's the labor cost in a buck's worth of steak?
We'll start back at the farm where Bully Boy was raised. The selling price of meat has to include the labor cost in producing the feed, in building fences, and constructing housing for our animal friend. It takes a lot of costly care to get Bully Boy ready for the market. Wages have to be paid to railroad workers who provide our friend with care and courtesy on his way to the stockyards. Preparing Bully Boy's anatomy for the butcher shop costs money, too. The family butcher figures in his wages every time he sells a thick, juicy steak. Forgetting taxes for a moment, the labor cost in a dollar's worth of meat adds up like this. Workers raising beef, 24 cents. Transportation workers, 1/2 cent. Packing house workers, 42 cents. Meat delivery drivers, 1/2 cent. Butcher shop workers, 18 cents. The other 15 cents goes in profits to the retailers, the packers, allied industries, and to the farmers and ranchers. Most of the things we buy accumulate direct and indirect labor costs that add up to 85% of the selling price before taxes are added. Generally speaking, a wage raise means a corresponding rise in prices, unless productivity is increased proportionately.
What do you want, a guy with 4 arms? 4 arms? Say, I got a sensational idea.
To expand productivity, labor and management must work together to develop new ideas and techniques. To expand productivity, capital must finance the creation of more efficient tools and plants. The The production of more and better goods at lower costs means that when you get a wage raise, it's a real raise.
A raise. A raise! I want to buy a doll. How much?
Now you've got a real wage raise because you can buy more with what you earn. With increased productivity, wages can keep ahead of prices.
What can a Toyota one-ton truck do for you? Haul a 2,655-pound payload. Tow 5,000. And with 150 V6 horses harnessed to Toyota's never-say-die reputation, what can't it do for you? Nothing.
I love what you do for me, Toyota.
Me and Joe were two of the most feared players in football. Now we want to try more peaceful pursuits, like fishing. We brought along some cold Miller Lights. Light's not some watered-down version of a regular beer. It's a less filling beer that really tastes great. You ready to try and catch a fish, Randy? Okay, Joe, I'll go first. Hey, fish, get in the boat! Boy, this fish is pretty easy.
It's no fish story. When it's Miller Lite, less filling tastes great.
Hey, that was too small. Get out of here!
There are those who thirst for something different. Something beyond the ordinary. For them, there is a beer that refreshes like no other. Michelob Dry. Once you've experienced its bold taste with no aftertaste, there's no going back.
Into everyone's life, a little food must fall.
No problem. No problem.
So why isn't Mom upset?
No problem.
Simple. She made those clothes stain resistant with Bounce with Stain Guard, the only fabric softener that helps keep many stains from setting. So even this greasy food stain washes right out. Bounce with Stain Guard. Stop stains. No problem.
My constituents, as your elected representative, I can assure you Labour's right, management's right. I'm strictly neutral.
Labor, management, politicians, fooey.
When anybody preaches disunity, tries to pit one of us against the other through class warfare, race hatred, or religious intolerance, you know that person seeks to rob us of our freedom and destroy our very lives. And we know what to do about it.
And now, gentlemen, no violence, please. And don't throw those bottles. Don't throw those bottles! No! Oh, no! Hey!
Working together to produce an ever greater abundance of material and spiritual values for all. That is the secret of American prosperity.